He came to our village on a cold evening when the fog hung low over the fields and the cobblestone paths looked like veins of something ancient, breathing beneath our boots, and though we were used to travelers passing through, there was something about this man that felt out of place from the moment he appeared. He walked slowly, like someone measuring each step against a map no one else could see, carrying only a small black suitcase and wearing a coat too heavy for the season. And when he passed me by the old fountain, I felt an unfamiliar chill crawl under my skin that had nothing to do with the weather. He rented the abandoned guest house near the woods, the one that had been empty since the fire, and from that night on, small things began to feel different in our village. Dogs barked at shadows, lights flickered at the same hour each evening, and there was a low humming sound in the air, like a machine running beneath the earth. People said he kept to himself, only leaving the house late at night, sometimes walking toward the forest carrying a lantern that didn't seem to cast light, only move darkness around. My uncle, who was the only one with a working car and a curious mind, joked that he was probably some city researcher studying soil or radiation, but that curiosity was what got him into trouble. He started visiting the stranger, claiming he wanted to sell him spare parts and maybe learn what he was building out there, and though my uncle laughed it off, I noticed his behavior change. He'd stay out longer, sleep less, and sometimes I'd find him sitting in the dark staring at his reflection in the TV screen long after the signal had gone. One morning he didn't come home at all. His workshop was open, the tools laid out like an unfinished sentence, and the radio was playing static on full volume. We searched the fields, the woods, the riverbanks, but he was gone, vanished like a photograph burned at the edges. The police came from the next town, wrote a report, and left, but the fear stayed. 2 days later, the stranger's windows glowed faint blue through the night, the kind of light you get from a computer screen, and rumors began. Some said he was hacking into government networks, others whispered of dark web experiments, live streams that no one should ever see. Then came the messages. My cousin was the first to receive one, a strange email with no subject line and just one sentence inside. "Do you want to see what he sees?" It had no sender, no signature, and when she clicked it, her laptop froze, the camera light turned on by itself, and the screen displayed coordinates. Our village's coordinates, and a countdown. After that, she threw the laptop into the river, but the damage was done. The next night, another person vanished, a schoolteacher who had lived alone. The pattern was too neat to ignore. I tried to rationalize it. Some elaborate scam, maybe an online cult, but late one night, I heard typing sounds coming from my uncle's workshop even though the power was out across the village. And when I went there, the computer on his desk was glowing faintly, showing a single folder labeled Return. Inside was a video file named with the date of his disappearance. Against every warning that my mind screamed, I played it. At first, it was just darkness and faint breathing. Then the image stabilized. My uncle sitting in a small room with bare concrete walls, his eyes wide and lips trembling as if he was being made to read something from a screen in front of him. "If you find this," he whispered, "don't look for me." He said it's not the place that matters, it's the connection. Then the feed cut off, replaced by static that somehow carried his voice repeating the same line again and again, breaking up like a corrupted signal. I stumbled back, pulled the plug, but the screen stayed on for another 10 seconds before going black on its own. The next morning, the stranger was gone. No trace, no luggage, no footprints. But his house remained locked from the inside. We broke in, half out of fear, half out of madness, and what we found didn't feel like it belonged to our world. Dozens of screens showing live feeds from inside the village. Streets, shops, even our homes, and among the equipment were hundreds of small cameras shaped like nails, each labeled with coordinates and names, as if the village had been mapped from the inside out. One computer was still running, showing a list of files with familiar names. My uncle, the teacher, the others who had vanished. At the bottom of the list was my own name, the file labeled Pending. The mouse cursor began to move by itself, slowly, methodically, and highlighted my name. I yanked the power cord, the room went dark, and the humming that had haunted the nights stopped instantly, leaving a silence so deep it hurt my ears. For days after that, nothing happened. No disappearances, no messages. Until one night the lights in our house flickered and my uncle's voice came through the baby monitor we kept for my grandmother, whispering the same words from the video. "Don't look for me." He said, "It's the connection." Now, months later, the village feels emptier than ever. People left, others pretend nothing happened, and the house near the woods has collapsed in on itself after a storm. But sometimes, when I walk past it, I can hear faint typing from beneath the debris. My uncle never returned, yet last week I found his old phone on my doorstep. Screen cracked, battery dead. But when I plugged it in, it powered on without charging, and a notification popped up. New file received return_2. I didn't open it. I've learned that curiosity isn't a choice. It's a hunger that the dark web knows how to feed better than anything else. And once you've looked behind the curtain begins to look back. Now I avoid screens after midnight, yet I still see flashes on blank monitors. Faces I almost recognize, movements that match mine a second too late. Sometimes I think the stranger wasn't human at all, not in the supernatural sense, but in the way he seemed built for something beyond empathy, a messenger or a builder of connections, harvesting watchers to keep a network alive. And when I sit alone at night, with only the quiet hum of electricity under the walls, I realize the truth isn't that he brought the dark web to our village. It was always here, hiding in the silence between our screens, waiting for someone curious enough to open the wrong file.